Hello there everyone. So today we're going to look into queues and how we can implement them using Python. So queues are linear data structures in algorithms and data structures, and basically linear means that you can index them through indexes like 0, 1, 2, 3. So they are queue data structures, and let me give you an example. For example, let's say that you are standing in a line, and that line is basically for a bank, and there is a counter, and everyone is lined or queued in a single line, and whenever a new person comes in, he will be standing at the last of the line. He cannot stand here because he came last, and the first person, which is this one, he will be served first because he came first. So queues has the same kind of concept where we have, for example, let's say we have a data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we want to add a new item, we have to add it at the start of the list, right? And if we want to remove an item, we will have to remove it from the end of the list. So this adding and removing is also known as enqueue and dequeue. Enqueue means adding an item, and dequeue means removing an item. So for example, if we want to add a 100, so we will have to add it here, right? And if we want to remove any item, we will remove it from the last of the list. So let's look at how we can implement this concept in Python. So I'm going to create a class where we will have some basic functionalities of a queue. Um, First, we will declare a constructor. So this is basically constructor in Python. Other languages use class-based constructor, like their name is similar to the class names, but Python has this init functions, and the self keyword is similar to this keyword in other languages. So we are going to declare an array which will be empty at the start, and then we are going to declare another function called enqueue. Enqueue will basically add an item to the start of the list, like we did here in the example. We will add an item at the start of the list. So we'll take an item, and then what we do is we will call the self.items array, which is this one, and then we will say dot insert. So basically in Python has a function called insert, where we can add some item to the list on a specific index, and here we want to add on the zero index, and we want to add the item on the zero index. So now we will also uh, use a dequeue. These spellings are really weird, but self, and doesn't take any other arguments, and then we are going to return the deleted item. So the way we are going to do is, as we said, that we are going to delete from the last of the list, and Python has a function called pop, which deletes an item from the last of the uh, list, last of the array or list. And then we will have another function called display, which will display all the items in the list or in the queue. So we are just going to say that print self dot items, right? And then we will have another function which will check if it's empty or not, is empty, right? And what will this do is that it will check if we will have just a small uh, double equal function over here, which will check if the items array is double equals to 0. Sorry, the length of it is double equals to 0, and for length we will use len, which is built in Python function which checks the length of the array. So basically this is it. This is how you can implement queue. Let's check it out if it's working or not. So we're going to declare a queue, and queue. Okay, so first we're going to check if it's empty, right? So is empty. Of course it's empty, so it's going to return true. Now let's add some items to it. Like for example, I want to add and one another thing. You can add any kind of item to it. Doesn't matter any kind of data type. You can even add class, objects, and anything that you like to it. So again, we are going to add basic data types, like for example strings, and this is test. Then we're going to add another one which is a boolean, and then we can add another one which is a decimal 1.2, right? and we are going to run this code, and then let's print this all and check what values do we have right now. So if we check it, I didn't call it, sorry. Okay, so as we can see that it has 1.2 true, test, and 1 2 3. Now what I meant by at the start when I said that we add elements at the start of the list. So as you can see, this is the list. Now let's say we want to enqueue any item. So if we want to enqueue an item, let's say I want to enqueue a string called as John, right? So it will be added at the start of the list, not at the end of the list. So let's observe this, and then if we call the display function on it, as you can see, the list, the item is added at the start of the list. It's not added at the end or at the middle or somewhere. Now let's dequeue it, dequeue some items. So we are going to call the dequeue, and it will dequeue items from the list or delete the items from the list. And we, as we said, that we delete items in the queue from the end of the array, right? So as we can see that this array, it has an item 1 to 3 at the end of it, so it will delete that. So if I print queue right now, queue dot display, so it will show me all the items except for 1 to 3 because it is deleted. Now let's delete two more items, right? So if we delete, where is the dequeue? So if I delete two more items, I will call this function two more item two times. So it will basically delete two items, this test and true. So now let's check it. So as you see that it the reason why it's returning dequeue on one true is because the other function is not printing. So it's returning, as you can see here, it's returning, and the returning the deleted item. And Jupyter Notebook, it only shows the last deleted item, it doesn't show this one. So it's not kind of glitch, it's just that how this Python code is working. So let me print this queue. If we print it display, you will see that both those items are deleted, these two, because we deleted two items, and we have John and 1 2 3. Now let's check if the empty function is working or not. Yes, yes, it's working. As we see that there are two items, so it shows that the array has some items, that's why it's giving me that it's not empty, so it's giving me false. So this is basically how we can implement, and there's another function which you can also use, which is size. It's really simple. All you can do is that return this in that function, just return this and it will return you the size. But that's not necessary. These are the main functions that you should know about. These two are the main functions, the main functionalities of this QR. So that's basically it. I will provide the code in the description. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, thank you.